Hey, everybody. I'm back today with Brian and Sean for another series of movie videos. We're going to do the 1990s this time. We did the 80s a few weeks back. If you haven't seen them, please check them out. I can link everything in the comments below. We did 5 videos of different categories. This time we're expanding a little bit. We're going to do 6 categories, 6 videos, pardon me, 2 categories in each video. So we're hoping to keep them a little more concise. We'll link everything up. So if you watch the first one, you can go to the second one, so forth and so on. I'm here with Brian, who is AYBL Maine. He has a channel on YouTube. Please subscribe to him. And he's right around 4950 subs, I believe, at the moment. So check him out. Can't say enough good things about him. He's doing his top 5 songs every year he was born. And he's in the early 80s now, 1982. So please subscribe to Brian. Doc doesn't have a channel, so he's just along for the ride. But
yeah,
we're glad to have him. Always a pleasure.
That's great. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome. Our first video today is going to be action, adventure, and comedy. So we're going to hit that first. We're going to go in a little bit different order. Brian, you're going to lead off. Give us your top 5 action adventure movies.
Okay. All right.
Of the 90s.
Of the 90s. For me, I don't. These are a little odd. Most of these are like personal favorites, but I've got number 5. I've got True Lies. Ooh. That's kind of a comedy action, and Arnold Schwarzenegger had Tom Arnold as his sidekick there, and Bill Paxton was a semi-antagonist buffoon, and it also had Jamie Lee Curtis in it, and that was like Jamie Lee at Jamie Lee's, you know. She
was peak, man.
She was at her peak right there for sure, in more ways than one.
Who was the director? James Cameron?
James Cameron was the producer of that film.
Okay.
Yeah, he did have his hand in it, but I thought it was the combination of comedy and the action I thought was great. I mean, there was a good chemistry between him and Tom Arnold for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And, that's right. That's what made that film work.
I liked it better than I thought I would. I remember seeing it. I said, I don't know if I like this, but I did like it.
Yeah.
Very good.
Number 4 for me was The Fugitive. Now, I did, honestly, believe it or not, I went back and actually watched this because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to put it in my top 5 because I always thought the pace for me was a little slower than what an atypical action was for me. I thought. But it's just the beginning of the movie that's that way.
That's right.
But once the wreck occurs, that seems to be the MacGuffin that propels things into motion, and then it's nonstop action from there.
I think so.
Obviously, Harrison Ford's in it. Tommy Lee Jones was, we won Best Supporting Actor, I believe, for his role in it. And it also has the janitor from Scrubs is in there. He's like played the cop on the subway train. So, so I did put it in, after watching it again. I did put it in there. I thought that the pace was faster than I expected it was, or that I remembered. So
very good.
And number 3 for me is In the Line of Fire. That's it's got Clint Eastwood, Rene Russo, and of course my favorite actor John Malkovich. Fantastic job in there. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. It's a Wolfgang Peterson film. It's about an aging Secret Service man who is suddenly contacted by this guy who has plans to kill the president of the United States, and that's Malkovich. And Eastwood's job is to try to stop him. I can't say enough about Malkovich's performance in that. That is one of the most intense performances. Just fantastic. Very good. Yeah, I loved it.
Very good.
Number 2 for me is The Professional or / Leon, because in France it was called Leon. It has Jean Reno, who is a hitman, cleaner or whatever you want to call him, who befriends this little girl who's a very young Natalie Portman. Maybe her first role altogether.
She's great in it.
And his job is not his job, but his whole thing is to try to protect this young girl from being killed by crooked cops. One of them played by Gary Oldman, who does a great job in that. He wasn't nominated for anything, but his performance was wow. It was just over the top great. It was. It also should note that Jean Reno also played a cleaner named Victor in La Femme Nikita. It's a foreign film, and
I love that movie.
No Return was based on. The same director was Luc Besson.
Yes,
so that's right. Like, these things all kind of tie together a little bit.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a good movie, La Femme Nikita.
Yeah, I really liked it. But my number one movie for action, it was really a no-brainer. It was the first movie I wrote down when we said action adventure, and I think because when it came out, I remember the hype around it was so great, and everybody said that this was such a must-see movie that I wrote it down immediately, and it's Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah,
I thought that for action slash adventure, it was like everybody wanted to see this movie because the special effects are going to be groundbreaking and kind of set the tone for like how high the bar will be for special effects going forward.
Yes,
and, people were. I saw bootleg tapes of that, like on people's yard sale stands. Yeah. You know, people who just have bad recordings of it, selling it for $10 so people could see a copy of Jurassic Park.
That's a good one.
Sam Neill.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Yeah, Sam Neill. It's a Michael Crichton movie.
Yep.
And it kind of started a whole string of adaptations of his movies, it seemed, from that point on. Jeff Goldblum's in it as his quirky self, like he always is.
That's right.
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. Yeah, it's the great little thing about it is the guy who plays Newman from Seinfeld, of course.
Yeah, that's right.
Wayne Knight.
Yeah, his name is Dennis Nedry, which is an anagram for nerdy Sind.
Oh wow, that's a good tidbit.
So yeah, I always thought that was kind of a cool thing. Yeah, what a great name. But that's my number one, Jurassic Park. I loved it.
I love the pick. I have it in a different category, so we'll be getting to that one later. Okay. I like your In the Line of Fire as well. That's a super pick, and I wish I would have picked it. But again, so many movies in the 90s. I'm going to go with number 5 as Thelma and Louise. This is an action film with Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon. Yep. They're both on their A game, as far as I'm concerned. They're both nominated for Best Actress that year.
Right. Yep.
It was a big deal for female empowerment, directed by Ridley Scott. So that's my number 5. Number 4 is a Michael Mann film called Heat. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. A heist movie, a little cat and mouse between the cop and the bad guy. There's some epic shootouts. It's slow in parts. There's a lot of conversations, but when the action picks up, fantastic. Heat from 1995. My number 3 is Braveheart. 1995, directed by Mel Gibson. And starring Mel Gibson as William Wallace of Scotland, trying to free Scotland from the reign of the King of England. I believe it's the 12th or 13th century. I forget exactly when it was, but a lot of action. Joaquin Phoenix is in a role in this as well. Mel Gibson's his only nomination for Best Actor. He won for Best Director, but Braveheart, and it won Best Picture that year as well, 1995.
That's right.
Not that it was my best picture, but it did win. Number 2, I'm going to echo Mr. Brian's sentiments here. The Fugitive, 1993, directed by Andrew Davis, who's a lesser known director, but
that's right.
I think he hit a home run on this one with Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones. Richard Kimball, based on the TV series from the 60s, starring David Jansen. This cranked it up a notch. This was a lot of action. I agree with what you said. Once that train or bus goes down the embankment and the prisoners are out or killed or whatever, the thing takes off. He's falsely accused, of course, for the murder of his wife. And Tommy Lee is a U.S. Marshal, and he's hunting them down in every outhouse, hen house, whatever the hell he said in the movie. Good movie. My number 1 is one of my favorite movies. It's called True Romance, 1993.
Good flick.
A lot of action. Tony Scott, the director, Christian Slater. It has a massive cast. Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, Gandolfini, Christopher Walken. I mean, and lesser known, Brad Pitt plays a stoner on a couch.
That's right.
High. He doesn't even move off the couch. It's unbelievable. Gary Oldman is a pimp. He talks like a
Rastafarian.
Yeah. Exactly. He's got the Rastafarian
He's got the
hair
locks and everything going on that one.
Yeah. He's got the black dialogue going.
He's written by Quentin.
Quentin Tarantino is the screenplay. Maybe one of his first screenplays, and he didn't have the notoriety to direct it at that point. So at least he got a big screenplay credit. I love the movie. Gandolfini and Arquette too. That scene with those two showing down in the hotel where he's looking for the money and she's playing hard to get, and they have a knockdown, drag out battle. Fantastic. Patricia Arquette is so likable in this movie. Slater, it's one of his better performances, Christian Slater. I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but he's effective in this role. And of course, the best scene in the movie, Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken.
The eggplant scene, yeah.
The eggplant scene in the trailer park.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Totally.
The dialogue with Eggplant and I forget what he called him in response, but just some of the best dialogue you'll ever hear. Your mother did this and did that. He was like really getting personal with them. Unbelievable. I don't want to use the graphic language here because it's a family show, but anyway, that's my number one, True Romance from 1993. Couldn't let it go.
Doc, a great choice.
Thank
you. Great choice. It will appear on one of my lists later on as well.
Yeah, I didn't know what category to put it in, so I was overloaded in others, so I put it in the action.
I think this could be the theme as we go here. So I guess that's like if I jump into my action adventure, I'm going to start off with The Hunt for Red October at my number 5.
Good one.
Nice.
I think, Brian, you mentioned earlier, Michael Crichton and stuff like that had some stuff going on in the 90s where his novels were really put on the screen, and so was Tom Clancy's at the same time. So
big time.
Yeah,
and big time. That happens a lot, right? So The Hunt, it's a great I like my sub movies too anyway, so
they're all
Das Boot from the 80s. Das Boot,
exactly.
And when we jump into the 2000s, you'll find that out again. So The Hunt comes in at number 5 for me. My number 4 goes back to one that Brian has already mentioned, which is True Lies. It's an action adventure movie that's over the top at some parts, but it's what it's meant to be. It's an action adventure movie, and I'm not looking for that. It's a good popcorn flick, man. It really
big
is.
Time. Yeah, it is for sure.
She asked Harry. She goes, "Did you kill all those people?" And he's like, "Yeah, but they were all bad.
They were all bad.
They were all bad."
Good one.
So I echo some of the other sentiments and stuff that you said earlier there too, Brian, about Jamie's looking fine there and everything else is good in that movie. I mean, the action scenes are really good action scenes too in it, like I said, over the top in some spots, but a real good popcorn flick for you from the 90s.
Yeah.
Number 3 is another one that's already been mentioned, which is The Fugitive. So
we all had it. All three of us.
We all had that one. I don't know if there's much more to say on that one. It does crank it up as soon as the crash happens and everything goes from there. And then it hits 4th and 5th gear pretty quickly. And it's a great little story that they got going on. And Harrison again, right? Is starting off the 90s where he left off in the 80s, really.
Yes.
Yeah. My number 2 is actually Mission Impossible, the first one.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought about it.
And for all the flaws that the movie has, let's say CGI-ish, the movie itself, and it's still a De Palma flick, and it's a good little story going on in there about getting the knock list and everything else they have to do to throughout the movie as it goes was the Mission Impossible, which was really a great reboot to an old show. So it was a good one to start off, I think. And
I thought,
to be honest with you, the series has some ups and downs throughout it as it goes, and that might come up later on in life. But
I thought the supporting cast was excellent. I mean,
it
really did put together.
Jean Reno again, right? Ving Rhames.
Jean Reno Rhames was in it. Yeah.
Ving Rhames.
But my number 1 goes back to somebody else's number 1, and that's yours, Brian. It's Jurassic Park, which was another one of those. I got Spielberg in the 80s and I got Spielberg in the 90s doing the action adventure as the guy, with Raiders and now with Jurassic. I think he hit the nail on the head again. We'd never seen dinosaurs like this. We'd never seen anything like this before at the time. So, and this really did set the standard for what, inside the CGI and all that kind of stuff that you're going to see in movies moving forward. The industrial light and magic and all that kind of stuff happening, all those kind of stuff that you see in movies. This really set the bar, and it was, a neat little story. Everything else that goes with it, the sporting cast with Richard Attenborough as well with it.
Yeah,
it was the action adventure of the 90s for me. That's for sure. Number 1.
Very good. I like that. I'm glad we all had the Fugitive too. That was
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, eh?
Yeah.
See what happens when you go last, though, Doc. You have to pick up the scraps like I did last week.
Yeah, man, this is pretty easy, man. I don't have to talk about
Scraping
Netflix on
from the
this one.
bottom. Oh, I got something here.
If I only have to talk about 2 flicks in each group, this is great.
Yeah. All right, let's go into the comedy. Brian, you're going to lead off again.
Sure. For number 5 for me, I kind of went a little bit more of the independent route. I went with Clerks, Kevin Smith's black and white comedy, kind of the docu-style exploits of these two. One's a convenience store clerk, another one is a clerk at a video store, and it's just about their kind of working adventures, having to deal with the public, which are all, as a wide variety of crazy idiots at times. And I worked in a video store for while I was in college, so I can attest to just how dumb some customers can actually be when you're dealing with them on a daily basis. I mean, I thought the humor in it was great. I mean, you could definitely see the makings of something good. Jay and Silent Bob, as the introduction of those characters, became just an iconic thing, and his subsequent movies, that their appearances always kind of just tied that world together. And Clerks, I mean, it only cost $30,000 to make this film.
No way.
And it probably made $20 million. I mean, you talk about a return on investment.
Big time, eh?
That's a big time thing.
Yeah.
So that's my number 5. Number 4, I'm a little bit of a sarcastic kind of humor guy too. So I have Defending Your Life.
I love that
directed
movie.
by Albert Brooks. It's got Meryl Streep in it. They're both individuals who had recently died. They go to heaven, and then the process in heaven, according to this universe, is that you have to go before like these judges, and do you defend your life about whether you're worthy to move on to the next portion of existence. And it's kind of a running joke that for some reason, like, people are defending their life only for like 2 or 3 days, and when people say, well, how many days you have, and he goes, I got 9, everybody goes, 9, oh my god. And like he's really screwed at that point. Like, they know nothing's gonna go well for here. But it's that typical Albert Brooks humor that I really like. He's kind of the sarcastic guy, and I liked it. Number 3 for me was 4 Weddings and a Funeral. It was nominated for Best Picture in 1994. It was a very strong year for pictures that year, as everybody knows. I mean, it was loaded for bear. Quirky British comedy. It kind of exposed people to Hugh Grant for the most part. It's got Kristen Scott Thomas in it. And it's just about that typical British humor about these couple that kind of meets at a wedding, and then the only times they seem to meet after that are at weddings, and then a subsequent funeral that happens also there. And it's just about the humor is kind of that offbeat romantic kind of humor. And I know we wanted to stay against rom-coms here, but it really wasn't over the top rom-com, if I can say that. So I squeezed it in here. So I like that movie. Number 2 for me was Groundhog Day. I could watch that movie anytime. I think the premise of it, of having to repeat a day until you get it right, is unique. It's great. Maybe the best scene in that whole thing is the Needlehead Ned thing, where he keeps walking up to him,
crossing the street.
Ryerson, cow, and then after a while, he just has enough of him, just starts socking poor Stephen Tobolowsky, starts getting nailed, and
that's right.
And of course, at first, Bill Murray's like taking advantage of the situation and using that information to like try to advance his romantic feelings for Andy McDowell's character, but eventually he figures out, that you gotta be a good person and do the right thing, I guess, if you're going to move on, and our existence is going to allow you to move on. So I like the movie. It's completely different and off the wall.
Sure is.
Number 1, the winner though for me, no questions asked, was the Big Lebowski. It was hard. It was hard to argue against the dude. He's my hero in the way that he can dress pretty much the way you want to dress, right? I love it. I was like, of course, him, John Goodman, Steve Buscemi. I keep saying it. Shut the hell up, Donnie. I won't say what he actually says. But it's like John Goodman always going off on poor Steve Buscemi.
Oh my God,
it's great.
Poor Steve,
and John Turturro, even
one,
John Turturro's character is great in it. The Jesus, I mean.
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
Peter Stormare plays one, and Flea. They play two of the
Yeah.
nihilists in the film.
That's right.
Julianne Moore and the Coen brothers, man, just hit the nail on the head on this comedy. It is timeless, absolutely timeless. So
Love
that's
it.
what I got for my winner.
Good ones.
We share a lot of common ground. I have actually 3 of the 5 you picked.
Nice.
Number 5 is Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, or The Spy Who Shagged Me. I have them both tied at 5. They're basically the same movie. Just
it is.
hijinks, a parody of sort of James Bond, and he's got these hottest chicks. He looks like a nerd with the buck teeth and the horn-rimmed glasses, and he just so much suggestive humor in this movie. Just I can't even remember it all, but Elizabeth Hurley is the chick in the first one. Heather Graham in the second one. They're both knockouts.
Yeah,
I just love the slapstick and the sexual innuendo humor. It's just fantastic. Mike Myers, of course, is very good at delivering that kind of humor. Number 4 is There's Something About Mary from the Farrelly brothers, 1998. Cameron Diaz looking hot as a firecracker in that movie. And she's got Ben Stiller and Matt Dillon both vying for her attention. The Frank above the beans, or the beans above the Frank. There's a classic zipper scene in that movie. I mean, and then you got the hair gel scene. The hair gel scene kills me. I mean, I'm not going to go any further. But anyway, that's my number 4. Number 3 is Clerks. I had Clerks also, the independent film from Kevin Smith, 1994. Extremely low budget. You can't get a more low budget movie than this. Black and white, shot on location at this convenience store and video store. Raunchy, hilarious, no holds barred language. I mean, everything is thrown in this movie. It's dialogue driven. They're basically just sitting around shooting the crap, and the Jay and Silent Bob thing, standing outside the convenience store, smoking a joint or whatever they're doing. It's slacker humor at its finest. I love the movie. Number 2, Groundhog Day. I couldn't get away from it. I could watch this baby over and over again. 1993. Harold Ramis is the director. Bill Murray, one of his best roles. He's just born to play this weatherman who's stuck in Punxsutawney, PA, and repeating the same day over and over again with the alarm clock and the song. And what was the song? I can't remember the song in the beginning.
Oh, it's Sonny and Cher.
I got you, babe.
I got you, babe. Right. Every day starts with "I got you, babe," and he meets that guy on the street, and it's just over. And I'm a big Andie MacDowell fan. I think she's quite fetching. And Bill Murray with that deadpan style of his, the humor, outstanding. And that's my number 2. But my number 1, no question, The Big Lebowski, 1998. That's probably the movie of all these 90s movies I've seen the most. Jeff Bridges as the dude, a cult classic. It wasn't really a big hit. It wasn't well received when it was in the theaters, but people have caught on to it over the years. I looked it up. There's 260 F-bombs in the movie. 260. From every character.
250 come from John Goodman.
Oh, John Goodman.
From Goodman. They gotta be from Goodman. There's no way. Yeah.
Oh, the dude says a few too, but Goodman.
Yeah, the dude drops them. But I mean, Goodman's character, man, is like constantly dropping it. Hey, that's all. Every third word.
And like you said, picking on Donnie. Donnie, you're out of your element. Donnie, this. Donnie.
That's right. Donnie, shut the.
Right. Yeah. And you got that whole scene with the marmot in the bathtub, and he's like trying to get away from it, going for the family jewels. You got the bowling scenes with Turturro, and he's shining up the ball. And
don't mess with the Jesus.
Right. And every time Goodman snaps out about Vietnam. It just cracks me up.
Oh yeah.
And then when, at the end, when they're throwing the ashes over the cliff and it comes back and looks
blows back in their face. It's awesome.
and they have it in a coffee can because they didn't want to pay for the urn. Unbelievable.
That's right. Throws it on him anyway. The dude gets it.
It's got everything in an action film, but it's a comedy. It's got the mistaken identity, the kidnapping, the revenge, the plot. The guy in the iron lung. What the hell was that? The kid with the homework. And I mean, it just goes on and on. There's so many. The pornographer, Ben Gazzara, is the porno guy.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's everything about that, man.
That's the best.
I love the part where Sam Elliott and him are sitting at the thing, and Sam Elliott says, "Could you do me a favor, dude?" He said, "Could you try not to use as much profanity?" He goes, "What the hell are you talking about, man?" And I was like, "What the
hell?" He gets up and walks away.
Yeah,
that's my number one.
Yeah.
All right,
good one.
Going up.
Well, we'll have a couple that will come up again, I guess. So
sounds good.
But my number 5 is going to come in with the stupid slapstick comedy of Dumb and Dumber. It's going to be my number 5. So
it's funny.
Yeah, it's brainless humor at its best, and Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is actually becoming pretty big at this time too. So it's actually and Jeff Daniels is he can be a serious actor and comedic guy. He's a pretty good actor actually. So it's just a funny movie, stupid funny, and that's what it's meant to be, and that's what it delivers on. And if you want to laugh and a brainless hour and a half of your life and get a couple of chuckles, drop on Dumb and Dumber for sure. So
yeah,
that's my number 5. My number 4, going with one called Bowfinger. It's with Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy.
Oh,
okay. That's one I haven't seen.
You haven't seen it? You should definitely check it out. It's Heather Graham is in it as well too.
Yeah.
And Steve Martin is like an actor, producer, director kind of guy trying to get a script done in Hollywood, and Terrence Stamp is in it. He makes an appearance as well and stuff like this. And Eddie Murphy is like the big Hollywood star at the time that Steve Martin is trying to get to play in his part in his movie, but he can never get him. He can never afford him for this role. And he ends up running into his twin brother, who's also played by Eddie Murphy. And it just, it's a comedy of things from there on how things unfold. They just follow him around and film him all over the street kind of thing. Like he's part of the movie, and he's just gone for lunch with Robert Downey Jr. kind of thing and stuff like that. So it's a really funny movie. If you haven't seen it and you guys haven't, you should check it out. It's a really one that's missed, that's for sure. But definitely a big laugh for me. My number 3 is Kingpin.
Seen it?
Oh, actually. Yeah, okay. That's a Farrelly Brothers one, right?
Yeah, with Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray.
Yeah.
And Randy Quaid. It's another kind of stupid kind of comedy kind of thing too. Exactly, but putting his hand into the thing after swindling. Bill Murray just drops and leaves him high and dry. And it's all right. What are you gonna have to handle this one by yourself? It takes off. And
isn't it like a running gag where like they associate his last name with messing up, like a Munson? I got Munson out in the middle of nowhere or something.
That's exactly it. Yeah, I just think it's a really good comedy movie actually. So Kingpin's my number 3 for sure.
Good.
My number 2 is The Big Lebowski.
Nice.
Can't say much more about that. That's it's the dude, man. It's it's the one. It's right there. But my number 1 from that one goes to one that you had on your list, Rich, and that's Something About Mary.
Yeah.
That's my comedy of the 90s, to be honest with you. The Franks and Beans, man, kind of just puts it over the top for me. So it's how'd you get the beans over the Frank? I don't know. That's my number 1. So
very good.
Oh man, I can't remember when what's his name there, the what's the other guy who's vying for her attention other than Ben Stiller?
Christopher
Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon.
Oh no, sorry, I'm doing the other guy.
When Matt Dillon's playing football with all the special ed kids, and then like he runs right through them, and he goes, "Exceptional, my ass." And I was like, what?
And they kept. It wasn't Brett Favre in that movie too. They said Brett Favre or something.
Favre or something like that.
Favre.
Right. It's a funny movie. I remember seeing
It's
that in the
hilarious,
movies.
man.
I went back a second time and saw it on the big screen because it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, it
Oh
was.
yeah.
It was.
All right, before we get out of here, I just want to throw some comedies that we missed that show you how many comedies there were. Not necessarily of them are all favorites. Wayne's World, Clueless, Election, Dazed and Confused, The Mask, Rushmore, The Freshman, While You Were Sleeping, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Edward Scissorhands, and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. There were a lot of comedies in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I think we picked the cream of the crop out. I really do. All right, so we're going to end this segment. We'll be back with War and Westerns. So make sure you check that out. In the meantime, please subscribe, hit the like button, give us some love. Tell us you like the videos we're making, and we'll keep doing more. Believe me. Leave some comments. Tell us things we missed, some of your favorites. Leave your top 5 in each category, and we'll correspond with you. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back with segment 2.